Hi, and welcome to Carolina Varsity's 2014 look at the NCHSAA playoffs. I'm Dale Ross.
I'm Matt Barlow.
And Matt, this one we're going to drop down into the small 4A, and we've got a very good number 9 versus number 8. We got Vance at 8-3, going up to play Mooresville at 10-1. Mooresville, of course, was undefeated up until last week, and they lost to their arch rival Lake Norman in a very competitive ball game, a game that they were favored to win, I'll say. And of course, Vance lost a game that they were favored to win. They lost to Huff last week. Very tough ball game, but overall, I think Mooresville's had kind of the season they were expecting, maybe not quite. I think a lot of people around Mooresville felt like they'd go undefeated through this season. I think it was justified with the team that they've got, the offensive line, the running back that they've got, etc. That it's justified thoughts looking at their schedule. And Vance, it was kind of I picked them to be 3 or 4. They ended up being 3, but I probably thought of them being like a 7-4 team, maybe a 6-5, 7-4. I do think they had a little bit better season than I had thought they would have. But then the last few weeks, I saw them play Mallard Creek in the absolute best high school football game I've ever had the pleasure of attending, in a game that everyone played to their potential in the game. It was definitely a rival game. It was funny to me, some of the comments by some of the Mallard Creek people, how they didn't consider Vance to be a rival, when one of our biggest Mallard Creek people, his wife, was upset she couldn't attend the game. They were going to Florida for a wedding, and she couldn't attend the game, and it's the only game that she goes to now that her son has graduated, because it is a rival of Mallard Creek. And those two teams played at the absolute top level, hardest hitting, etc. Since then, I mention that because since then, Vance has kind of dropped down in their level of play. I don't think they played Huff. I hate to use the word flat. The kids never quit. They tried, they did everything, but they were not executing. They had 6 turnovers in the ball game. A couple of them were caused. One of them was caused by Christian Young. Nice hit, the very first one of the ball game. But then you have a snap that ends up on a punt that goes into the end zone that Huff recovers and scores on. Of course, Huff did the same thing, but 6 turnovers in a ball game, not good. It's not good at all. There was a comment in the forum about the run, and I'm going to make my statement here instead of in the forum. And Harry made a comment about how North Mecklenburg had been able to, North and Vance, Huff had been able to run on Vance. And so I went and I looked at, Patton's yards from North. He's a great running back. I saw him play Huff last week, and I'm very impressed with him. He's a kind of a back like a Rankin. He's a 200-pound, hit it between the middle. Well, he carried the ball 30 times for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I'm going to tell you what, if I'm a defensive coordinator and there's a back carrying the ball 30 times against me, one, I'm going to be probably happy, especially if I hold him under 200 yards. If I hold him down around 130 yards, I will be ecstatic. And he had 1 run for 31 yards in that ball game in the Vance game. So 29 carries for 100 yards. I think you'd take that any day of the week, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. Someone could do that against me. I'm just going to tell my offense, there you go, guys. They got 2 scores against me. They've ran all their plays through, and they've ran 3/4 of their plays through this one guy, and this is what they've gotten. So I don't think that the North Mech running on Vance, when overall the total yards that North Mech had rushing in that ball game was just a little over 100, because they had another minus 20-some yards. So I guess their quarterback and sacks probably. So overall, Vance didn't give up running yards to North Mecklenburg. And this came up because we're talking about different types of backs and how Vance got hurt. And Vance got hurt by a back, and Bishop Ford, that has the ability to create space. He has the ability to cut, accelerate immediately in tight area, and then create space. So I mentioned to you about the little seam And I don't know that Mooresville has that kind of back. Now, that's not to say that Rankin can't get 200 yards. My thoughts are you're going to give the ball to Rankin 30 times and he gets 130 yards, are you going to be happy? Because that's what the North Met kid got. No, and North didn't win that ball game. I'm expecting him to get about 200 yards against Vance. He's a good back, and I'm expecting he's going to get about 200 yards, and I'm expecting they're going to give him the ball 20 to 25 times maybe. It just depends on how things go in the game. You can run on Vance if you've got the speed, etc. You can run on any team, but that was the big thing, was being able to get to the edge and then outrun Vance, because Vance seemed to somewhat contain everything on the inside. And has throughout the season. And that's really, probably talk more about this than I should, but I didn't want to put this up in the forum. I had a long post. I deleted it because I don't want to get that thread off topic. But in the end, I think this is going to be a great ball game. I think I'm going to be at this game. This is probably number one on my list to be at, because I don't think there's a better ball game. Mooresville's got a great offensive line, so the things that Mooresville's got that North doesn't have, they've got a back that, Patton and Rankin, they're probably close to each other, actually. Rankin's a great kid, and going to UNCC, deserves it. Phenomenal running back. This kid at North's a very good running back in his own right. Similar abilities, probably not quite at his level, but there's not a huge gap. But the big gap is going to be in the offensive line for Mooresville and the offensive line for both Huff and Comparisons. That's where the big difference is going to be, is in that offensive line. And I'm going to expect that Mooresville's going to if they pound Rankin a lot, that may shorten the game by, not a lot of throws, etc. Shorten the game and may keep the score down. This is not, you're not playing a NPC team now. You're playing a Mecca team that finished third, and rightly so, could have been number 2. So I think it's going to come down to, can Mooresville defense stop Vance's offense. I think that Mooresville will be able to move the ball. I think they'll be able to score. Question is going to be, can they keep up with Vance's offense? Because I do think Vance's offense is going to, I think we'll see a Vance team come out this week that'll be more like what I've seen the other games.
Yeah, and I agree with you with that. Coach Brand, is definitely a very good motivator, and he's going to use that loss to motivate these guys to kind of get back on the track they were on. A lot of people are saying that Vance has fallen back into the trap that they have been the past couple years. They do well, then they kind of fall off toward the end of the season, and then they go out in the first round of the playoffs. I don't think Coach Brand's going to let that happen without a fight. It's a different regime at Vance, different offense,
different mentality.
Everything's different. For Mooresville, they're going to have to be able to stop the Vance passing game, and that's something that people have not mentioned that much. Omar Baker transferred from Berry. He's a very, very good quarterback that does not get a lot of credit or pub here in Charlotte because of all the other star athletes we have at the skill positions. But, Coach Brand is a very good offensive mind. And, one of the things that Mooresville struggles with is stopping the pass. And, with Vance, offensively, they can run the ball well. As we mentioned earlier with Donovan Spencer, he had the big 400-yard game against A.L. Brown that broke a Mecklenburg County record. So you got to respect him. But then you put too much in the box on him, Brand's going to, try to, hurt you in the pass game off play action, or he'll go straight over the top. And they have athletes on the outside that can take advantage of that with Vance. Now, on the other side, Mooresville's a very good offense in their own right. More run-oriented, like you mentioned, with Rankin and Manny Johnson, who stepped in when Rankin was hurt earlier this year. Vance, like you said, they might have some issues in stopping the run. A good offensive line for Mooresville. But Mooresville's going to have to be able to throw the ball when Vance commits 8 or 9 guys in the box. And that's going to happen because the Mooresville run game is that good.
Right.
Their quarterback, I think, has been there a couple years. So he has some ability. But they're going to have to hit those opportunities when they come available. I think you're going to have a back and forth game here in a environment that's going to be crazy on the Mooresville home side.
Right.
I don't think Vance has ever played here at Mooresville. If you haven't been,
No, they have.
they have played there.
They were in the same conference. Remember,
Yeah,
right?
I'm losing it already.
That's okay.
But that environment's going to be crazy for the playoffs, and you know, both of these teams coming off a loss. You know, Coach Capps in his own right is a great coach.
Yes.
And Mooresville has had, you know, runs deep in the playoffs recently, so you know this is not something new to them. But you know, which coach is going to be able to motivate their guys, you know, the best after, you know, a tough loss where they both were expected to win.
Right.
So you know, you got the middle aspect of this too. This is going to be a very interesting game to watch, and like you said, I think it's one of the better first round matchups. And if you're neutral, you know, like I am, and you don't have nothing to do this Friday,
Exactly.
It's a good game to you know, go and watch if you just want to watch a good high school football game. If you're coming from Charlotte, leave early because, you know, going up 77 is going to be a mess, and then, you know, you're going to have a big crowd there. So, you know, this is a 7:30 start, which, by the way, all playoff games start at 7:30 for you Charlotte guys, because I know we play at 7. So all your playoff games start at 7:30 across the state. So you got a little bit of time to get up there and get in and, you know, get a good seat. But, you know, this is going to be a really, really good game, and I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. And it's hard to call because you got two really good, well-coached ball teams here with a lot of talent.
I agree. I think it's a toss-up game. Could be the last man with the ball wins that you know, is able to take it in with enough time to take it in, we'll say, because the other team might get the ball with, you know, 30 seconds left and everything's desperation. But I do believe it's going to be a very, very competitive ball game. And it could be come down to, again, one of those imposing your will and who's able to stop. You know, if Morris will run, can Vance find a way to stop? And if Vance does get up over the top throwing the ball, can Morris will find a way to slow or stop that? So I think there'll be a lot of little interesting within the game things that happen. That
it's going to be a great chess match.
Lots of little adjustments here and there that I think it's going to be great, and you're going to get to see some really good running backs. You know, Rankin's a phenomenal running back. Donovan is I tell you, the kid won my respect in that A.L. Brown game, just the things that he did. So great running backs, two good, you know, one young, very good head coach and one very experienced head coach that's been there and knows it all, and the environment just can't be beat. So enjoy the game, and like I say, I'll probably be there.